Okay, so I want to go through and show the before of the rack. Like right now, it looks like shit. Okay, there is wires going everywhere. Stuff's not really mounted properly. It just became kind of a bastardized project that we're now going to revisit here in 2023. So I have all the stuff off of the rack as far as like the sides and stuff. And I'm going to go through and kind of reorganize things, kind of consolidate things, and make it a little bit more useful for what my plans are in 2023. And that is focusing on my offensive security certification. So with that, I'm going to need a lot of virtual machine setup, especially when it comes to some of the Active Directory attacks that I'm going to do. So I'm going to add a ESXi cluster and hopefully use vRealize to help automate kind of some of those things. So I need to make room in the rack. Okay, so here's my plan. So starting at the top down to get kind of if you need ideas for like your own rack. On the top, we have a Cisco 2500 series, and that's a wireless controller, okay? So I got my CCNA last year, but I didn't really get into a lot of the wireless stuff, so I have 2 access points you can see right here. So that's going to stay in the rack because I still want to do stuff with those access points, okay? In my CCNA, I didn't really do a lot with wireless, so 100% staying there. That's still something that I want to figure out. I might even add some more Cisco access points kind of around the house and actually do a full permanent install with those. So that, boom, cha-ching, staying. Next thing down here, we have a Cisco 1921. That is a Cisco router. It's currently set up as the dialer for my DSL service. I have separate internet coming in for this rack than the rest of the house. Okay, so the rest of the house has cable internet. Here, I have a DSL connection that I brought in. So that's what this is serving as. It's our dialer, which I have a video that I'm going to do on just how I set that up. But that is definitely 100% staying. Cha-ching. So then we have 2 Cisco switches that are here. This bottom one being PoE+. I am 100% going to leave both of these in here. They're 2960 series switches, just for the different VLANs, things like that. Those are 100% staying. Below that, it's kind of hard to see, but I do have a KVM. It's an 8-port KVM. I'll put a link in the description. Been super happy with this KVM. So that is 100% going to stay. Down here we have a Ubiquiti. It is a 8-port switch. This actually feeds an outdoor access point that I have. And then up top there, I have a secondary outdoor access point. So that's going to serve as our function. It's actually going to continue to function as it is. Because my thought process is, in mixed environments, you're going to have this kind of setup. You're going to walk into a setup like this. So especially when it comes to Ubiquiti, Ubiquiti is really, really good for point-to-points. So my whole idea behind my home lab is to figure out how to make all of these things talk, okay? So even though like I'm going with VMware ESXi as kind of like my main workhorse for virtualization, I'm still going to do a Proxmox install, and then I want to make them all talk and use Active Directory to authenticate, things like that, because I want to try to simulate as much real world as possible. So for that reason, the Ubiquiti is staying. Below that, we have a Buffalo BS MP 2008. It is an 8-port 10 gig switch. So this is going to be the backbone that we're going to use specifically for our vSAN, for our virtualized SAN. It likes to have that 10 gig throughput. And then these servers also have 10 gig NICs in them. So the Buffalo is going to stay. Not really a lot of elimination going on yet, but that's fine. We're going to get there. Down here we have a DS218. This is the first thing that's going to be removed from the rack. Okay, so this is going to be our off-campus or our off-site backup. I'm going to take it over to my parents and hook it up. So it's going to exist over there, and everything that's on it is going to be transferred onto our localized storage here. Okay, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. Over here, this little Lenovo PC. This is just a small little PC. It could be either used as a jump box or like a firewall, or kind of like one of those one-off projects. I've used it right now. pfSense is installed on it. So that's going to stay in the rack as just a PC that we can either use, like I said, as a jump box or like one-off project. It doesn't take up a lot of space, so that'll definitely stay. Down here where you see this says PC3, this is actually going to be our single install. So I'm not going to virtualize anything on it as of right now. It's an old HP like workstation that I've just put into a rack mount case. So I'm just going to install Windows Server on it, and it's going to act as our DHCP, AD, and DNS. And it'll start off as a primary domain controller, but I'm probably going to make it a backup domain controller in the future. But it's just going to be a standalone machine. Also probably kind of that jump box, something I can use Google Remote Desktop or some VPN to get to it, and then navigate the rest of the rack from there. And then PC5 and PC1. These two are actually going to be condensed into one super server. This is actually going to be used to, the PC1 has a really good RAID card in it and a bunch of hard drives, whereas PC5 has, I think it's running 32 gigs of RAM. It has an i7 in it. So again, spec-wise, it's a little bit better. So I'm going to combine those two machines, and then PC5 is going to be my vSAN. So that's going to be the storage for the entire rack. And then what you don't see here, which I'm going to be ordering, are a few Intel NUCs, and those are going to be my ESXi hosts. So they're going to run in a cluster, probably going to start off with 2, but then probably jump up to 4 of those running in a cluster in order to create the various virtual machines. So I just wanted to record kind of a video of the before, and then kind of go with me as we figure out kind of how to rebuild this, not only rebuild the rack, but then the different things that we are going to build on top of it. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot of offensive security stuff, but also there's some other projects that I want to do kind of along the way. So stay tuned for those kind of things. And if you have absolutely any questions, please feel free to reach out. More than happy to answer any questions you might have. Hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching.